A first quarter triple header weekend. A grueling test of the equipment, but this barely feels like work when you're surrounded by good friends and great fans. Welcome one more time to the Southern Illinois Center in DuQuoin, Illinois for round 3 of this triple header weekend with the Monsters of Destruction. We're going to get right into action on what is normally a very tacky, very biting course. We've seen a lot of guys rock up and roll over, but as we go into this qualifying round to open things up, we have noticed this weekend that this has been a pretty loose track. These guys have been really able to dirt track around here. In fact, yesterday in qualifying, Toxic slid into heavy hitter in the pit area, but right now, Aaron Basil out of Nebraska sets the pace. Solid run to open things up. We wait on the time for the Devastator. 17.99. Not a bad time at all. Should put him in the upper half of the field with 5 trucks here. The underdog right now will probably be the last guy out, which will be Jim Burns in a rather tall Alcatraz. We'll see at the end of this qualifying round. But you can see right here, maybe a little slow in this first turn, and actually, even with the open front end, it seems like the truck really is pushing the corners, as they did water this track earlier, but there's not as many shiny spots on it as there were yesterday in qualifying. As I mentioned, the guy who's about to roll out in the black and green destruction machine, Toxic 2.0, Corey Snyder out of Frederick, Maryland, with that 557 cubic inch Oldsmobile power plant in the back of that Metal Shop Signature Series chassis. Launches a little bit sideways. Never even touched the rear steering, but now he's way on the outside of the track. In fact, missed the tabletop. Lines it back up. It was a strong showing otherwise, but I believe we'll get a penalty on the run. We'll wait and see. They're making the judgment right now. If he doesn't get a penalty, okay, he will get a penalty. It'll be in 1972 after the penalty, so he would have run a much better time. In fact, he would have been ahead of Devastator, but he will fall down in the pack right now as our next machine rolls out, and that will be none other than the crowd favorite, R.J. Turner, in the War Wizard, celebrating their 20th anniversary this year with that beautiful white scheme. Another big Oldsmobile power plant, same engine builder, Kevin Stauffer, and he knows this thing will make power. Final corner, spools front and rear, and he underdrives it. Sends it early into the turn and jumps over the back of one of the Freestyle obstacles. You can see he ran a 21.06, so he would not have bettered the time that Corey Snyder laid down, but this slick track got the best of him here. Remember, though, as they chew up this dirt, this track will get a little more bite and it'll change the dynamic now as Stevie Snellen rolls out of Louisville, Kentucky in Derek Anson's heavy hitter. The low-slung C10 is away. A beautiful first turn, but he slides out. That is just not something you would have seen in years past, and it looks like he may actually pick up a penalty as well. He was way on the inside of that ramp. Going to be a 22.82, I believe, with a penalty. Our final competitor rolling out now. The teammate to that machine, the one that Stevie drove at the beginning of the year. Here comes Alcatraz. Jim Burns, an interesting story behind this driver and chassis combination we'll tell you about later. But now Burns trying to get in the top of this thing. He's been the underdog all weekend long. Finally found a setting he likes and no shocks. And he blisters the track. Rolling work of art right there, and it was a 17.34 to take the top spot. Jim Burns will blow into the lead. So these are the matchups we'll see in round 1. Devastator and War Wizard will meet for the right to take on Alcatraz, and will be Heavy Hitter taking on Toxic 2.0, and we will bring a fast loser into that next round. So keep your eye on these guys as they come around. Remember, as they work this track in, it should become a little bit tackier. We shouldn't see any more slide outs, not like we saw from the likes of Stevie Snell and Heavy Hitter. Now, as these two low-slung war machines go to work in the first round, Derek Anson's Heavy Hitter out of Louisville, Kentucky, with Stevie Snell and the tallest man in monster trucks going to war against Corey Snyder, second-generation phenom. Pretty even off the start. Snellen with the lead right now, about a truck and a half advantage into the final turn. Snyder's gonna have to go some. What a come-from-behind victory. It does look like this turn over near the pit side is gonna be the place to be here today, because this side of the track down near where our camera is much, much more slick than the final turn that Corey Snyder had. The pit side turn does seem to have a little more bite in it. It's allowing these guys to really push the trucks. Now, Devastator, Aaron Basil out of Grand Island, Nebraska, up against War Wizard out of Knoxville, Maryland, RJ Turner. And I said Corey Snyder did not touch the front steering. RJ Turner was all rear steer on that, but he's behind. Basil with the lead. Can he hang on to it? He will not. RJ Turner will take the win and go into the next round as he works the track in hard. I think he was trying to feel out that slicker of those two turns. He figured out how to get through it, crank that rear steering, and just stand on it. And dug down there and found some bite now as Jim Burns rolls out for a bye running on the track. Very, very clean run he's making through here right now as he continues to take that same line he did in the qualifying session, just riding the razor's edge of missing the ramp and knocking himself out of competition. But he does indeed roll on into the next round. Stay with us. More action to come from DuQuoin. Don't forget, we have championship tough trucks coming your way next. Stay with us.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. Stay up to date with photos, videos, event info, and more at monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army, the place to get your motorsports fix.
There's only one place in the world you can find this much old school cool. Freedom Racing Monster Trucks. The home of Cyclops and Unnamed and Untamed. Get yourself a limited edition toy at freedomracingmt.com.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Crush This. For an inside look at the monster truck phenomenon, check out Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast.
Welcome back to the Southern Illinois Center in DuQuoin, Illinois, on the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds premises and amazing complex. You ever get a chance to visit for any event, you got to come out and check it out, especially when the Monsters of Destruction are in town. Now, we go right into championship tough trucks. Evan Collins out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, with the bullnose Bronco called Plum Nuts. He's been having fuel delivery issue all weekend long. New power plant in this thing made it super powerful, but you can see not looking like he's having those problems today. We'll see if he can hang in there. Going against three other top guns out of the Midwest. Nicely does. He drives this truck for Jason Bono, who we'll see here in just a little bit. In the general, I thought he was going to lose power right there. Looking good. Evan comes across at a 42.79 to set the stage for our pro rough trucks. Now, A guy we know can get the job done in the little love truck. Here's Mike Mozzie, slightly mozzified out of Brazito, Missouri. See what he can do. Number 88 on the line with the independent front suspension. This truck is super quick. Dual ag tires in the back, biting that clay. Just barely touching the front steering and just swings it right around the corners. Look at how little input there is from those front tires. He's moving the wheel quite a bit, but the tires, it's very ginger as they make their move on the clay. Nice shot there, even jump over the penultimate jump on the course. Final turn, he is moving quick. Mike Mozzie across the finish line. I know he is the new leader at 35.80, and I believe that's about as fast as anybody has gone all three shows this weekend. Now, here comes the man himself, Jason Bono and General Lee out of Pierce City, Missouri. Another bullnose Ford out here, full-size pickup. This thing is a heavyweight. When he hits this floor, you can feel every bit of it. Not quite as much as these monster trucks, but man, when these tough trucks land, you can hear it. Working the track nicely through that whoop section, and that's tough. Starting off on those whoops, you can do drivetrain damage if you're not careful. They're not real aggressive whoops, but you can get in trouble if you overdrive into the face of those things. These guys have handled them well all weekend long, and this right here could help these monster trucks, because as these tough trucks work their way around the track, they are chewing it up. They're getting some bite built into that soil, because as they chew it up, underneath of there is that harder packed clay, and that's where you're really going to find some good bite with all the moisture that's in here now as he finishes up his run. Jason Bono running a 39.37, so Mike Mozzie retains that lead. One more bullet to dodge in this first round as he sits back there. Here comes Cody Coulter, a little Explorer called Striker, out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Pull that keg in the back. This thing has been impressive all weekend long. This is a true blue tough truck. Short work of the whoops. Now he's moving quick. This is a vehicle that could win one of these competitions just about anywhere you go. It's super light, super quick, and it lands so well. Getting a little lean in that corner, that body roll, picking up the inside tire. Not hurting him though. Final corner. He's there. 37.19, not gonna do it, so Mike Mozzie retains the #1 spot in our Pro Tough Trucks competition. There you see it, 35.80. Again, about the fastest time of the weekend, I believe. Cody Coulter, Jason Bono, and Evan Collins. Again, Collins driving a truck that Bono put together at Plum Nuts Machine. And again, the new power plant, it's good to see it get down the track, but he is far behind the other three in the field as we bring our monster trucks back to the line. Rolling out with the first pairing here in round number 2, the semifinals. Toxic on the line. Remember, he knocked down Stevie Snellen in the heavy hitter in round 1. He goes against another Maryland monster. 2 guys out of the state of Maryland, one by way of the state of Florida, that being R.J. Turner in the War Wizard, based out of Knoxville, Maryland. Again, this new scheme for the 20th anniversary. Even start into the first turn. 2 different driving styles, a big edge for Toxic into the final leg. Gonna try to make work of that slick turn, he does. Wow, were they close on the finish. Maybe a little edge to Turner. Again, there are dynamically different turns on this track. I keep making mention to it, but I believe Turner had the drive coming out of that final leg. We wait and see now. Here is the final jump. Finish line's at stairway. Oh yeah, definitely. RJ Turner picking up a big win over Corey Snyder. Remember, our camera's not quite on center there. You can see the gentleman down by the fence, the line judge down there. He's got a more centered angle on that. You can see that very clearly. About a half a truck length advantage, but with the angle we had on that finish line camera, throws it off just a little bit. Now as our final pairing of the semifinals comes out, the clone to Gravedigger 16, the Devastator. Racesource chassis going up against the repurposed J&B, being driven by Jim Burns. That is Derek Anson's Alcatraz. Final corner, Burns working the track, trying to hang in there, and he does. Gets that drive off of the pit side to go into a championship race with RJ Turner, the two prettiest trucks in this building, gonna go toe-to-toe for the championship race. And oh man, do they have to be happy that they can dirt track around here this year, because again, any other year, if you hooked as hard as they are in these corners, you would be upside down in no time flat. Both of these guys now get that shot to keep these beautiful new bodies nice and pristine, we hope. Although I shouldn't have said anything, I probably just jinxed one of the two of them, or both of them. But this should be a solid final round matchup. The big Oldsmobile-powered Patrick-built War Wizard out of Knoxville, Maryland, RJ Turner, going up against Jim Burns in Alcatraz. And again, the story behind this machine is this was going to be Mechanical Mischief 2, originally of Jim Burns. He sold it, Derek Anson rebuilt it, and it is now Alcatraz. And Burns, the Illini, is back at the wheel battling RJ Turner for the championship. See what drive they get off this final corner. 90, RJ Turner is upside down all the way back over. And Jim Burns will pick up a victory. He's been fast. He has been consistent. And I think I owe RJ Turner an apology for even mentioning rolling over, because he just put it on its top. He'll finish the track, or he'll finish the run. So it will be a legal run for him. I don't think Burns committed any infraction, though, so it won't matter. But RJ Turner refires after getting back up on all four. What a wild ride at the end here. Watch him come around. He went into this turn totally different than he had in previous rounds. Tried to pre-steer and it bounced on him. And that wasn't even getting hooked by the dirt monster. That was just a funny bounce with the tires cocked to the left, and with the wide angle on the outside of that bounce, it just picked up and rolled over, all the way back over. Minimal body damage, just rolled right across the top of the cab. A little bit maybe on the fin there, but nothing too bad as Turner takes it back into the pit area, and Allison Turner's going to have to run out there and pick up a couple pieces. I think she'll see here in just a second. Yep, taking a look at the cab as he knocked the top of the window off. But, hey, that's minimal damage considering what has happened to him in years past with new bodies, and he made it out of Madison, Wisconsin without tearing one up, so he has to be happy about that as she runs out to pick up the pieces of his broken luck. We have more to come, freestyle and more with our Pro Tough Trucks. Stay with us. More to come from Du Quoin. inside the Southern Illinois Center on the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, getting ready for more Pro Tough Trucks action. Evan Collins now out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, in the bullnose Bronco called Plum Nuts. Got a decent run in the first round of 42.79. They'll put him at the bottom of the field, and it looks like he still can't quite get the power he needs to make this thing run the way he would like. As I mentioned at the top of the show, new power plant in this thing. He's had a fuel delivery issue that he and Bono have been chasing all weekend long, though. It is working here today, but he's not as fast as I know he'd like to be. You can see, we get on the throttle, we'll have to let up to get into the turns, and then the machine will actually bog down. Hanging in there right now, though. A little problem right there. You can see him slow down again. A nice leap over the penultimate jump into the final jump here in just a moment. Not going to top out Mike Mozzie, I can guarantee you that, but he will improve on his own time. It will be a 42.10 for Evan Collins out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. Next machine up, Mike Mozzie, your leader right now with a 3580 and slightly modified. Again, the little Chevy Love truck. Beater looking, but this thing is race ready. An awesome piece of equipment with the independent front suspension and the dual-act tires on the back. Kicking the rear end up, but he goes through those whoops so smooth right now. Look at him whip the rear end around. Little belly flop there as he came across that jump. Very flat landing. No reduction of speed or power in this one. He is going to hang on to that top spot for the moment. What will the time be? Can he seal it in there and better his own time? Listen to this, back-to-back 3580s. Mike Mozzie lays down his second 3580 of the event. So, he basically didn't even need the run. That was just for the crowd. Watch that little truck go around here again. Now, Jason Bono out of Pierce City, Missouri, the General Lee. Bullnose Ford. Awesome piece of equipment. This guy could get the job done. He's had a win here before. Well-balanced truck. Out of the first full leg now. Into the second. He'll come to the outside of the track left to make one more loop. Really hanging it in those turns. Beautiful leap into the final corner. And Bono going after the 3580. I don't think he's going to do it, though. It was a solid run, but not going to be enough. A 40.02, so not even close to where he wanted to be. Again, a very competitive piece of equipment normally, but it looks like he's having just a bit of trouble getting power to the ground. Now, Cody Coulter out of Jefferson City, Missouri, and Stryker. A little lightweight machine, again, built for tough truck racing. This is a great group of four we got out here. Pro-built machines. These guys race all over the Midwest and the Plain States, and they put on a show. As he gets a little side bite there, hikes up the rear end. Big leap into the second leg. On the outside, we'll see if he gets that bite again. He is picking up those inside tires. This is going to be the telltale part of the course, though. He has got to fly now. Hard hit going into the final corner. Chasing the 3580. He's close, not enough. 36.53 for Cody Coulter in Stryker. So that wraps up our Pro Tough Trucks Championship. 3580 still stands on top, followed by the 36.53. That's Cody Coulter, Jason Bono at a 40.02, and Evan Collins at a 42.10. Now, you see some equipment out on the track. That is Lee Collins digging up the ramps here, getting this track ready for the final freestyle of the weekend. Just a little groom, and we'll be back with the carnage. Stay with us.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. First the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter.
Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo.
Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
For the final time this weekend to the Southern Illinois Center, the 2023 Monsters of Destruction, wrapping up here inside the Southern Illinois Center in Du Quoin on the Du Quoin State Fairgrounds out of Louisville, Kentucky. Here comes Stevie Snellen in the low-slung C10 heavy hitter. Looks to be maybe having a problem with the rear steering, and he was having that problem earlier this weekend. They were having a little bit of a steering issue out in Wisconsin with the self-center. They didn't want to come back. They've got those race or self-center tubes, and there's a little sensor inside there. There's a pin on either side of that thing, and that sensor needs to be right in the middle of those two pins or it'll kick the tires back and forth. If that thing gets out of alignment, it can cause the thing to want to actually self-center to one side or the other, and it looks like that's kind of happening right now. It keeps coming and going. He's still laying down a run, though. He's had some nice air, but he's struggling to keep the rear steering pointed in the right direction. It's not stopping him, though. Stevie Snellen works with the limited space out here. Great facility, though. You get a lot of hang time for how small the space actually is, and he's going to open things up with a nice pace-setting run here in the heavy hitter. Gonna wrap it up right there. The tallest man in the building this afternoon, Stevie Snellen out of Louisville, Kentucky, driving for his old buddy Derek Anson. Stevie, one of the nicest guys you will ever meet, as big an imposing figure as he is, and as big as these trucks are, it's amazing he can actually fit in the cab between the accelerator and the back of the seat. But he just put on a show to open things up in spite of the steering problem he was having now. Here comes Aaron Basil out of Grand Island, Nebraska. By way of the state of Oregon, here comes the Devastator Racehorse chassis. Built for Mark Schrader back in late 2003. Thing's still out here and running. Double Action Motorsports Camp now taking ownership of it. You can see doing just what it was built to do. Again, a clone of Gravedigger 16. And very proud owners of this machine, the Basil Camp. Keeping it down there around Grand Island, Nebraska with the greats like Dave Wysorek, like some Mark Wheeler, and hey, even Gary Schramm spent some time in that part of the country. A lot of great names and some great Chevrolets and one die coming out of that area. And Basil working the track to perfection right now. Carrying a lot of momentum out here on this floor right now. Probably going to pick up the lead here in Freestyle. It's fan scored. Look at this. Nice slap wheeling from the likes of Aaron Basil, the Devastator, getting ready to wrap up an awesome freestyle run. Strong showing here. I have to believe he's going to take over right now. Remember, this is decided by crowd applause. He had a great run going, and we'll, I think, get another look at that slap wheelie. See it right there. Brake checks it. It's a nice compression off the front tires and the shocks. Kicks that front end back up, and he grabs a hold of it. Big Firestone's digging in now. Out of Frederick, Maryland, here comes Corey Snyder in the Metal Shop Signature Series, the original Metal Shop Signature Series chassis. Debuted in late 2020. Goes right after Basil. That was awesome. Sky wheelie into a slap wheelie combo. Putting all 1,500 horses to work. 557 cubic inch Oldsmobile power plant in the back. The sister motor to the War Wizard engine. Said Kevin Stauffer out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, builds some big-time horsepower, and you can see it right there. He's going big. He's chasing it from end to end, using every part of the floor. Not overthinking it, just kind of running the track. Coming up the middle. Some nice hang time there. I think the back of that race lane might actually be giving them more than that center pod. That thing was built for stoppies, and this weekend it's really been about big air and a lot of ground speed. Corey Snyder in Toxic, getting ready to attack the track from the side. Right up and over. Nicely done for Snyder and Toxic. Working the track hard. Again, this move was awesome. He was lined up for it, and he mentioned this all week long. He looked at that thing and said he could get a slap wheelie off of it. And not only did he get a slap wheelie off it, it was a combo from a wheelie into a slap wheelie, and then some great hang time on the run. Next machine coming out will be the rolling work of art that is Alcatraz. Those of you who have been watching this motorsport for the last about 3 decades now may recognize the sort of reformed mold that created this body style here as the old Dungeon of Doom. Well, this one's a little bit different, but not by much. I'll tell you what, though. One of the best color combinations I've seen on this body. This thing is absolutely gorgeous in person. Doesn't look too bad on camera right now as Jim Burns works the big floor here at the Southern Illinois Center. A lot more momentum on the run than he's had all weekend long. Doesn't have to worry about it as much. Finally got the feel for the truck. Remember, Burns is kind of the fill-in driver. Stevie Snellen debuted this truck in Madison, Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. And Derek Hansen, we want to wish him the best luck. He's had a little health issue. He had to jump out of the seat. Stevie took over heavy hitter Jim Burns, who sold this chassis originally. ends up back in it. Never actually got to drive it. It was just sitting there unbuilt, and Burns sold it. It was going to be Mechanical Mischief 2. Now it's Alcatraz. Since we're in Illinois, the Illini jumps back behind the wheel, and he is putting on a show. Couple pops out of the motor there, and it is backfiring like crazy. He has something going away. You see the flames shooting out of the pipes, and he's going to take it right out of the building. You're looking around down there. I believe he spit some parts, and he was heading out of the building right there. He may have just had a blower come apart on him as the truck heads out of the building. He may have said that, or he sucked something down in there, and looked like some tiny, small metal parts came out of the pipes on that thing, and that's why those things are pointed down or pointed up on these trucks. They're never pointed straight out because they do not want anything ejecting. Going out into the bystanders of the crowd now as they wrap things up. R.J. Turner and War Wizard going after your leader, Corey Snyder, and he starts off with some nice air. Going huge. Look at that, into a slap wheelie. Definitely going after Toxic right now. Turner coming away from a hard-fought battle with Snyder yesterday. Love to get him again. Look at this. Carrying it across the track. One more big hit up the center. PEI chassis going to work. And you talk about a guy who is always in his shocks, refining them, rebuilding them, and it looks like it's working out for him here today in Des Moines. Going after some two-wheel action, not going to happen there. I don't know if he's going to need it, though. Nicely done for R.J. Turner in the War Wizard. Had some massive hang time on the run. Had the slap wheelie, definitely challenged Snyder. And the word we're getting is that we have a tie right now for that freestyle victory. And it may stay that way. I'm not going to decide on a winner. You can judge for yourself. It has been an awesome weekend here in Des Moines. We will be back here in 2024 with more action from the Monsters of Destruction and a lot more from those guys as well. If you get a chance to see the Monsters of Destruction live, do not miss it. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time.